Now today I'm going to make tagliatelle meatballs with a rich tomato sauce. Now the good thing is, very simple to do, really tasty. So if you want yourself some nice tasting meatballs in a rich tomato sauce, serve it with your favourite pasta, give these a go. So for making these meatballs, I'm just going to quickly go through the ingredients I'm going to use. Now I've got a couple of medium-sized onions. You could use one large one. Just peel those, chop them down nice and fine. Salt and pepper. Now do have enough seasoning because you do need to season this to bring the flavours out. 5 or 6 cloves of garlic, peel those, chop them down fairly fine. Parmesan cheese. Now with the Parmesan cheese, I'm going to use some of that in the meatballs and a little bit more to sort of dress it up. In terms of quantity, I reckon you probably want about 20-25 grams of Parmesan cheese. I've got 1 egg. Now the egg is to go with the breadcrumbs and the meat, and it kind of binds it all together. Now with the breadcrumbs, I've just sort of used a bit of old bread and blended it up and got my own homemade breadcrumbs, but you can obviously buy them from the shop. Now meat wise, I've got 250 grams of pork mince and the same amount, 250 grams of beef mince, and also I've got about 5 rashers of streaky smoked bacon. Now that bacon is just going to really add a wonderful flavour to the meatballs. Now for making the sauce, I've got a can of tomatoes. Now these ones are cherry tomatoes, which I find a little bit sweeter, but you can use what you like. And to freshen it up, I'm also going to use about 5 medium fresh tomatoes. Now when you buy tomatoes, smell them. If they smell good, they're generally going to taste good as well. So we're going to chop those nice and fine, put them in the frying pan, cook them down. Now I've also got a little bit of wine here, red wine. This is a Spanish Rioja, but you know, any one you've got, just make sure it's a reasonably good wine. I'll probably use about 50 millilitres of that bowl. So, you know, it's a small portion of it. And then I've got some parsley just to sort of freshen it up. And with the parsley, that's going to go in the meatball mixture. But obviously, as an alternative, you could use something like oregano, a bit of sage, it's up to you. But I've chosen to use parsley, which I think goes really well with meatballs. So apart from a little bit of olive oil for cooking up the meatballs, that's all the ingredients, nice and simple, but it comes out delicious. So what I'm going to do now is get everything prepared, and then we're going to get on with the cooking. So I've got everything prepared. Now what I'm going to do is start the cooking. So let's put, I'd say, a reasonably good glug of olive oil. Switch the heat on. Now I'd say you want to start low and then you can always turn it up to like medium. So let's just get it on low. Wait for the heat to come up and then we're going to put the onions in there. Let's pop these onions in. So I've got them on low at the moment. Pop those in. Now what we can also do is add the bacon as well. Just pop that in there. I've chopped it up. Streaky bacon. Put some salt in there. Good bit of salt, good pinch of salt. Like that. Lovely. And the same with the pepper as well. Put a good bit of pepper in there. Lovely. Now, what you can do is turn the heat up a little bit. Probably going to bring it up to about a medium now. And what you want to do is just cook the onions, but don't brown them. Just get them like translucent. So keep moving them around. Now I've been giving those a mix around. Now I've been cooking for just under 10 minutes. So roughly 10 minutes. Now let's add the breadcrumbs in there, because what that's going to do is absorb some of that beautiful flavours. Let's get some of this parsley. I'm going to put a good dollop of that in. Any leftovers you can put it in the final mix. So let's just do this for a minute or two and then we can take it off the heat. And what I'm going to do is transfer half of it into a bowl, because I'm going to use that for the mixture of the sauce, and the other half is going to go in the meatballs. Right, we're done. Switch it off. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put half of that mixture in here, this bowl, that do. And the rest of it we're going to use for a sauce. So I'm going to put that in the meatballs, and this bit we're going to use for the sauce. Now we're going to start making up the meatballs. Now I'm just going to pop in the mince and also that lovely mixture we just cooked up with garlic and onion and breadcrumbs, and oh, that's so good. So just pop that in there as well. Going to pop in 1 egg, which I did beat the egg. Put some salt in there, because with the meat you do need to put a little bit of seasoning. So salt, pepper, and I've got the leftovers of the parsley, so pop that in. So make sure you've got clean hands, and what you want to do is just kind of bring it all together. Don't overwork it, just enough to bring it all together and make sure those flavours are nicely mixed. Now the other thing I'm going to add is some parmesan. So parmesan cheese. So let's just keep mixing this together. Lovely. And when you think you've brought it all together, what you can do is start making up your meatballs. Obviously you make them as big as you like. What I say is, I don't know, make them like a golf ball or a ping pong ball size. Look at that one. And that I'm going to put on the side, and I'm going to try and make the rest a very similar size. So I'll carry on doing that with all the rest. Now I've got the meatballs. In the end I actually made 13, unlucky for some, but you know, I'm not superstitious, so I'm not going to worry about that. Now what I'm going to do is just put a little bit of cellophane over the top. So just break that off. And what you want to do is just pop those in the fridge, and I say you want to leave them for like 15-20 minutes, just sort of cool down a little bit, and that will help to prevent them from, you know, breaking apart when you cook them. So I'm going to pop those in the fridge. Now I've got my meatballs and I've taken them out of the fridge, and what I'm going to do is just place those in the pan. Got a little bit of extra oil in there, so let's pop those in. Just round them off. So I'll do that with all 13 of those. So now I've got all the meatballs in the pan. Now what you want to do is just get a little bit of colour all the way round, and then take them out of the pan. Now if you find any of the meatballs break down a little bit, don't worry about that, because we're going to deglaze the pan, and that's just going to add to the flavour of the sauce. So get a little bit of colour, take them out, and then we'll deglaze the pan. Now what I'm going to do is just deglaze the pan, so give it a bit of flavour. Just give it a good squish around. Loosen off the bottom bit. Look at that. That's going to make a really good basis of the sauce. Now I've also got the leftovers. Look at that. Absorbing all the flavours. And let's pour in the can of tomatoes. And also I've got fresh tomatoes as well, so pop those in. And just to give it a bit of liquid, probably put in 1 can's worth of water as well. So what we're now doing is making the sauce. So get that all in the juices. I'm going to let that cook down about a medium heat until the tomato is really nice and soft. Now I've been cooking mine for about, I don't know, just over 20 minutes. Give it a good stir around. Now let's have a little taste of this. See how it is. Just pops in a little bit of salt, and take the acidity out. I'm going to put a little bit of sugar in there, and obviously add a little bit of sugar or whatever you need, but I think that's probably about right. So Give it a good stir, give it a few more minutes, taste it, and then we can put the meatballs in there. Now I've given it about 5 minutes so let's just give it a quick check, see how it is. Well, lovely, absolutely lovely. I mean, make sure it's the right sweetness for you, but that is absolutely gorgeous. Now what I'm going to do is, I'm going to put in the juices and all those meatballs in there. Just, you know, get them in the sauce. Swirl them around a little bit. I'm going to put a lid on there. I'll probably cook those for about 15 minutes on a low heat. Now whilst they're cooking, what you can do is just give them a swish around, make sure the sauce is all over the meatballs, but you're not disturbing the meatballs too much. Lovely. That's it. Pop the lid on, leave them cooking. Right, I'm going to cook the pasta because we're nearly done. So put a bit of salt in there. It's always good. Now when you're cooking your pasta, you can put in a cube of vegetable stock, and what that will do is add flavour to the water, which is obviously going to flavour up the pasta. Let it come to the boil, and then we're going to put the pasta in there. That's it. Just going to pop the pasta in there. So I'm using fresh pasta. Mine only takes about 4 minutes, but if you're using dry pasta, it'll probably take 8 or 10. That's it. Lovely. So now we've finished cooking the pasta and the meatballs. Now what I'm going to do is drain off the pasta, serve some up on a plate with that beautiful sauce, give it a mix, and then put a couple of meatballs on there and sprinkle it with some parmesan, and then we're going to try it. Now just served up some of those meatballs with the pasta and that beautiful sauce. Look at that, just put a little bit of parmesan, looks lovely. Now, let's tuck into this and see how it is. Let's go into one of these meatballs. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Those meatballs, delicious. Garlic, got the pork, got the beef, the parsley. The flavours in those meatballs, absolutely wonderful. And of course, we've got this tomato sauce we've made up. It's a meaty tomato sauce with the tagliatelle. And let's just try a little bit of that as well. Oh, that's got to be good. That is so good. So good. What a combination. Go and make your favourite, you know, pasta. Make this sauce because it just goes so well with it, and the meatballs are delish. Thanks for watching my videos. Don't forget to subscribe, ring the bell, and just recently I started up my Instagram account, so go and check that one out, and I'll see you very soon. All the best, the original naked chef. Ooh.